What's up everyone, Karue here and welcome back to another episode of our email list exclusive podcast. And today we have a pretty action-packed episode. First, we're gonna talk about my pro career, got some fun updates, what tournaments I'm gonna play next. Also something kind of funny happened that we'll cover in a second. Then I wanna talk about this bad boy right here. Yeah, we just launched our own string. I told you guys I was gonna do that. So I wanna chat about that in the second part. And the third part, obviously, our coaching corner. I got some great questions here today. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so let's talk about pro career. I was supposed to be playing two tournaments. Like right now, one in New York this week, and last week, today's October 3rd as I'm filming this, I was supposed to be in Albuquerque. When those lists, like the entry lists closed, I technically still didn't have points. What I thought would happen is because my points actually I'm already in the ranking. I thought that once I went and signed in for qualies, main draw players don't sign in, but qualifying players do sign in. Once I signed in, I thought they were going to use the 7-day ranking, which I would be in that qualifying draw. But I guess they used the 21-day ranking, so 21 days before the list of Albuquerque, I didn't have points. So to illustrate what happened, I actually filmed something on the road that I put on right now, which is kind of funny.
Okay, this is something I'm gonna try now for the podcast. So I'm actually in a tournament. I'm gonna insert this clip here in the podcast because I just flew yesterday to Albuquerque to play a 15K where I was deep in the alternate list, but my assumption was that they used the last 7 days ranking when making the draw. So I would go up to the qualifying draw with my current ranking of 1500 in the world. But I guess I was wrong. They used the 21-day ranking, which I didn't have a point at, and they used the 7-day ranking for seeding. What? So so that means that I don't get in. I didn't get in the tournament. I flew here to sign in for the qualifying, and I'm not in. So now what I can do is tomorrow morning sign in as an on-site alternate in case someone pulls out. Maybe someone has food poisoning tonight or something. Someone pulls out, then I'll take their spot. So that's sort of the last recourse here. Otherwise, I will be flying to LA tomorrow. So I would have spent 36 hours in Albuquerque or 48 hours in Albuquerque and then back home. So I'm going to update you guys on what happens tomorrow morning.
All right, update here. Did not get in, which I was expecting. It's a long shot to get an alternate. Someone would have to basically just get like food poisoning or I don't know, wake up with, too scared to play. So unfortunately, this is a short trip to New Mexico. I'm glad, it wasn't going all the way to Africa this time. It was just going 2 hours away from LA. So yeah, I'm just gonna head back to the hotel now and pack and go back home. And instead of playing, I was planning on playing here and then playing in Ithaca, New York. There's another 15K, but I think I'm on the same boat for Ithaca. My point will still not count for that week's tournament, so whatever, right? I'm gonna train a couple weeks. I'm gonna play actually a big men's open in San Francisco that pays a good amount of money, so we'll see if I can get a title there and then start actually playing again middle of October. My points will have counted and then I'll get in all the events, no worries. So part of the life on tour, fuck it. But yeah, can't complain. Going back home to LA is always a good thing. So I'll see you guys during the podcast.
So as you can see, my mistake on that one, I guess, in my head was they always use the 7-day ranking.
but I guess they only use that for seeding purposes. So again, on the fact sheet, on the entry list, once the entries close, which is like about 3 weeks from the event or 2 weeks from the event, I didn't have a ranking at that time for the Albuquerque Future. But I always thought that they used that 7-day ranking, but they only use that for seeding purposes, not for entry into the tournament. So, I thought I was going to get in. It was, an easy trip to Albuquerque. It was a 2-hour flight. So for me, it is what it is. It's not like I went all the way to Tunisia to not get in this time. It was quick, cheap trip. And then so because I didn't get in Albuquerque, I also scrapped my plans of going to Ithaca because in Ithaca I would have been, I think, on the same boat in the alternate list, and I didn't want to risk going all the way there. It's kind of a tough trip to get to Ithaca anyways, and so to risk that and not get in again, I was like, might as well just wait, a couple more weeks, restart. What I'm figuring out now where I'm gonna go. So basically, this week right now I'm training. Next week I'm supposed to play a men's open in San Francisco. It's a really big event. Pays $10,000 for the winner. So, but it's a big event in terms of prize money, but not a big event that like a lot of people are playing. So like good opportunity to earn a little cash there. Today I for some reason got an email that I was also in the alternate list, even though my UTR, ATP ranking, and now WTN ranking, which is like the ITF now World Tennis Number or something. That's what they use. I've never seen any tournament use WTN. I've never seen it. It's always UTR. And I guess when the list closed, I didn't have a WTN ranking. So I was in the alternate list. I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm just trying to play tournaments and I can't play tournaments. But by UTR, ATP, or WTN ranking from today, like today, October 3rd, I would be the 1 seed in the tournament. I literally would be the highest rated player in the tournament. And I'm, for some reason, like not in the main draw. So I had to email the lady, first of all, like to clarify what was happening, because I didn't know what was happening. And then apparently, again, the explanation was that when the list closed, I didn't have a WTN or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's just crazy. Like, again, you're just kind of missing out now on adding, like, again, I think a solid addition to the event. I'm planning on vlogging and doing something fun. So I requested a wild card, and I should know that by the end of today. So hopefully I can play that next week to get some matches in, and then the following week on the 16th, the week of the 16th, there are 2 events that I'm signed up for. One is a future in Vegas, and another one is a future in Mexico. And my plan was to go to Vegas because it's cheaper. I can drive there and would be an easy trip to get there. But the entry list for that event is bananas. I'm actually gonna take a screenshot here. You guys can see it. It's crazy because the following week, there was a challenger in Vegas. So players that were gonna play the challenger kind of signed up for the future, or a few of them. So I guess they can get a few matches in, it's good practice, and then they can play the challenger. Now, the problem is the challenger got canceled, and all these guys that were supposed to play in Vegas are still in that list. So I don't know if they're gonna get in. I'm deep in the alternate list in that one, and I don't want to like risk not playing. And this future in Mexico, which is not too far away too, is I'm already in the qualifying draw and could potentially move up to the main draw. So planning on playing one of those, likely the Mexico event. And then from there, there's a lot of futures, Canada and in America for the next. It's basically 6 weeks in a row that there are futures. I'm not sure if I'm going to play all of them. Of course, it's a lot of time on the road, depends on the results. If I do well enough in a few events, I can skip a couple. But if I'm not doing that well, I'll likely play basically from middle of October to end of November every week. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just play as many tournaments as I can. And my goal really is to get to like that 800, 700 ranking by the end of the year. It's tough. Really, I would need one good run in an event, you know, make a final, win one, would do it. So I just have to give myself chances to have that good run. And because by next year, I would like to be playing only main draws at the end of the day. You know, the higher ranking, especially in futures, if you can get seeded, you know, it's usually you can get like a couple decent matches to get to the quarterfinal and get some rhythm, and then from there make the push and hopefully win some of those. So yeah, just want to play a lot of these events, hopefully, and hopefully, you know, get to that ranking. That's my goal towards the end of the year, and then next year just full send. So that's my Pro Tour update. Again, guys, if you guys want to support me, there are many ways that you can do it. Between just being signed up here on our email list and, you know, using the links that we have on our channel. If you use any of the links to buy stuff from Tennis Warehouse, from all the partners that we have in there, it does help us. And obviously the best way that you can do it is signing up for our Improve School. I've talked about it here. It's only $5 a month. All the content in there is curated by me. I chose, so you don't have to worry about am I watching the right thing or the wrong thing. It's gonna cater towards your needs. I really like what we're doing with Improve. I'm really proud of the school that we made, and all the revenue that Improve generates right now, it's sent to me to play professional tennis. So they're helping me with some of the expenses right now, and you know, the more we grow our school in there, the better, again, the more likely, the more time I can spend on tour and pursuing this pro career. So make sure you download Improve. I'll leave a link in the description here. Download Improve, see if you like it. Again, it's $5, I think less than $5 a month for you to join the school, create your avatar. You're gonna get the content that you need, all personalized to you. And there's one more way that you can support me, which is a pretty fun one. There it is, the MTHQ Tour collaboration. It's called the K Pro. Sorry, it's very reflective. It's a cool packaging. So basically, what we did with Tourline is come up with like the best possible Karue string. I tried all of their strings. Right now, first of all, Tourline, if you haven't heard of them, company from here from California, making really high quality stuff at a very affordable price. So we worked together to do something that not many people are doing. Some pros, I think Casper Ruud, he actually mixes two different polys, but people don't tend to mix polys. You just go full bed with whatever poly that you like. But why not try something a little bit different? So here's what we came up with. Tourline had, first of all, this string here is called the Caviar. That's something they already had in their lineup. The Caviar is kind of like a Yonex Poly Tour Pro, which I was actually playing with. But this one is six-sided hexagonal, so very, very soft, very good for feel. And this is what I use on the crosses. Actually, let me get my racket. Oh. So this is what I'm using on the crosses here, if you guys can see the yellow one. And then on the mains, close this. On the mains, we're using Wasabi. So this is Caviar, the yellow one, Wasabi. There's another poly that they already had in the lineup, that is a square shaped, you can actually feel the edges, square shaped poly that is really good, really helps with like the top spin. Again, I don't play with that much top spin, but I need the top spin, and it bites. It makes my forehand a little bit heavier. And the blend, mixing both of them together, so you can either buy the reels like this, which are very affordable, separate, and then you can do it that way, or just the package, so you have, oh, don't fall. You have it for the mains. It's all in here, perfectly mixed up. So half Caviar, half Wasabi. So what we did, we changed the color. I like this colorway being like sort of more gray carbon, and the yellow. And honestly, for me, this is playing perfect. For my game, I really love it. Another thing that makes it unique is the gauge. So the wasabi, the mains, it's actually not a 125, it's a 123. So in between like 16L and 17, I think. Between 120 and 125. As a 123 is just a little bit thinner, and being square shaped, it makes the ball really bite. Thinner with square makes the ball bite well. And then caviar, instead of being 125, is a 124, again a little bit thinner with that six-sided shape. So, you know, wasabi helps with that spin and that, you know, that bite. And then caviar, soft, really helps with feel, with precision. So I really love this blend. The carbon color of wasabi that we made makes the string just a tiny bit stiffer than the actual wasabi that they sell on their website. So this blend here is a little bit stiffer than like maybe a very soft poly if you've played with poly tool or something like that. So if you like that kind of feel, maybe you play with like a lower string tension and you want something that is a little bit firmer, this is the blend for you. And we're also working on making like a softer blend. It's still gonna be wasabi and caviar, but with different colorways, and that makes the string just a little bit softer. So stay tuned for that. But for now, you can get this, hopefully by the time you get this podcast. We actually sold out the first batch. We kind of like had a small sample size that we were able to get early, and we sold out. And I think by the time you watch this, receive this podcast, we will have it back online for you to buy it. So if you want to, again, support me, support the channel, support my pro career, pick that up, try it out. If you like it, I think you're gonna like it. And if you like it, you know, you can keep using it forever. It will be available at tourline.com. We're trying to get into Tennis Warehouse and trying to figure out some European and international distribution as well. So if you are outside of the US for now, maybe you won't be able to get it, but you will very soon. We're gonna figure that out. I want everyone around the world to be able to try this bad boy. So really thank you. If you already bought it, let me know if you like it in the comments below. But if you didn't, go buy one. It's only $10 for the set. Couldn't get better than that. I want it to be affordable. I want people to be able to play with it. So yeah, the K Pro, it's out now. Go get it. All right, so let's move on to Coaching Corner. Got some great questions here today. So let's do a few. Let's start with here from Adam. Adam says, is it okay to play almost exclusively with a good slice backhand during matches? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have a good slice, like a deep penetrating slice, and I'm sure a good forehand to back it up, that is a killer combo. I think a lot of people, you know, get caught up into wanting to hit over their backhand if you have a one-handed backhand, and they don't realize how difficult it is to play versus a player that has a great deep slice that makes you just play off that slice from behind the baseline a lot, and then loves to get around that slice and hit forehands. I mean, that's a very common way to play. Think about Stevie Johnson, right? Or, I mean, even Roger. I mean, Roger did so much of that he would knife that slice. You have to hit up, and then he's running around hitting forehands, which was his best forehand, right? Getting around the back. And so I just played recently a guy like that too, who was, you know, kind of played deep on the court, like forehand was really good, played with a lot of spin, but the slice was really deep and penetrating all the time, and he was able to move the slice around the court. And it was just difficult. The rhythm, the footwork gets awkward. If you have a great slice and you can back it up with a good forehand, use it. Like, don't get me wrong, learn how to hit over it and have that confidence as well. But it's more than okay. Like, become nails with that, and people are going to be miserable on the other side. All right, this is a good one from Tom. How can I make sure I'm improving a little bit at every training? Sorry. After some training session, I just feel like I wasted time. Some mental things, I think. Um, yeah, it's a tricky one, right? Because first depends on how much you're training. It's a difficult thing, if you're not training, let's say like a pro 5 to 6 times a week, you maybe only have that one or two sessions a week. You obviously want to get the most out of it, but I personally don't believe that you need to put that much pressure into the practice. That like I for sure got better. I think yes, you want to go on court and have that sensation that you're getting better, but you also have to understand that it is a sport of ups and downs. I myself, sometimes I'm playing lights out for weeks on end, and then all of a sudden I'm just playing terrible, and I'm like, whew, that's tricky because you feel like you're maybe not progressing. But even through those downturns, if you just show up and you put in the work, and if you're playing terribly, but you're giving your best and you're running around, and even just breaking a sweat is good enough. You are getting better, even if it's a slight percent better. Showing up means that you're getting better. So it's kind of like the stock market, right? Like it's time in the market instead of timing the market. You gotta just keep going through it, and it's gonna be up and down. But like if you zoom out, that thing is going up. So that's how I kind of see it nowadays. I think back in the day when I was younger, I definitely let maybe bad practice sessions get in my head a little bit more. But nowadays, when I feel like the practice sessions aren't good enough, I just think about, hey, I showed up, I got a sweat in, I did the work, and tomorrow might be better. So, you know, yes, some days are going to feel like wasted time, but that's also how you approach it, right? Like if you approach it with a better attitude, you should be okay. Aside from just doing it every time, what is the best way to ingrain the split step unit turn? First of all, I don't know what the split step unit turn is. I know what split step is and unit turn is. So I don't know where you're getting that information, but moving on. I know it is important. I see myself constantly not doing it consistently as my doubles matches progress. I'm thinking I just get bored. First of all, what is this? Split step unit turn is not a thing. You split and then you're gonna unit turn. Like one is, I personally believe, I think some people might think it's all together. I personally believe that a lower body and upper body like need to be disconnected at first, and then they connect at the end as I'm about to hit, right? Like I'm splitting and I'm moving away or to the ball or whatever I have to do, and my unit turn is happening on its own up here, right? Because it's not that difficult to do a unit turn. You just got to turn your shoulders, right? It's like, don't overthink it. But the feet needs to keep moving. Like you split, and it's not just about splitting, but it's about splitting and continuing in motion and continue. Like we just made a video about that on the channel, so maybe check that out. What was your name again? Randy. Anyways, if you do that, when you do that with the split step, you just have to maintain motion, and the best way to ingrain it, I'm sorry, but it is to just always do it. Every time someone's about to hit the ball, it should be just like almost an instinct of like splitting, right? Like let's say you're playing, especially in doubles, it's so easy to get caught in just like looking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and not moving. But especially in that situation where you're at the net, every ball you need to be splitting, because every ball it's coming to you. That's the expectation. You expect that the ball it's coming to you, and if it doesn't, if it goes to your partner, then fine. Then you reset and you split again, you reset, you split again, you reset, you split again. So my judgment from the question is that you're just kind of being lazy about it. You have to do it, and again, it's not split step unit turn, it's split step. Unit turn happens, again, according to the ball. If it's a very fast ball, you're going to split and you're going to turn kind of fast. But if it's a slow ball, you're going to split, you're going to move, then you can turn and hit. So, again, don't get bored. The answer is in your question. This is an interesting one here from Chris. I have never had a one-on-one coaching session before, and I'm considering booking a few hours to boost my game and as a checkpoint for my technique, check for bad habits, etc. Any advice on how to get the most out of my first few hours one-on-one with a coach? I think my advice would be obviously finding the right coach for you can be a little bit difficult. A lot of it is word of mouth. You don't know if you're getting exactly the best coaching out there. Who am I to judge? But it's just one of those things. Like I've seen a lot of like bad stuff out there. So maybe do a little research into the person that you're hitting. It's very easy to sell yourself as like the master of the masters, but a lot of times what people sell is BS. So look out for that. Do a little research on the guy. Maybe Google him and whatnot. But in terms of, once you find that you're getting the most out of it, I think a lot of people have that first hour and they want to work on everything. They get in, it's like, my ground strokes are like this and my serve is not good and the return is not good. And there isn't really like an objective. We're just kind of running through everything. You're going to get some general tips, but you're not really going to improve. So I'd say going to the lessons, knowing what you want to work on and work on that for an hour. I'm not saying like you just hit forehands or just hit backhands, but I'd say it's consistency or ground strokes or footwork. Spend the time with that. That 1 hour you want to ingrain that in your head and it becomes a little bit more natural. So if you just go like 10 minutes this, 10 minutes that, you did a lot, but you didn't really learn anything. I think when you're a bit more specific about it, spend 30 minutes doing one thing, 30 minutes doing another thing, that tends to be a little bit more helpful. And in general, I think sometimes people have like crazy expectations about those like one-on-one sessions. Even I see it myself when I get players that reach out to me. Either we do in-person lessons or even online lessons. I think sometimes maybe there's an expectation that like, oh, I'm Karue from MTHQ and I got 1 hour lesson with him. I'm gonna be unbelievably better, and I don't think that's the case. I think that's always an expectation that is hard to meet. We do our best to help you guys, but it's time playing. So I'd say it will be those things, plus like maybe the coach is going to try to like change your technique too much, or like, oh, you're doing this wrong here, and they overcoach sometimes. And I don't allow yourself to be overcoached a little bit. I think sometimes less is more. So find someone that like is willing to do that a little bit more than just be the star of the show trying to overcoach you. Here from David. How much practice would it take to really groove my serve power and placement from my current level to say the next? One whole hopper 6 days a week, for example. I feel like there's more room for experiment in practice. So do a lot of solo practice, maybe with video, and then maybe a couple practice sets. It's a good question. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for this, to be honest. I think serving, personally, I've talked about this in the channel, and here serving for me took long time to even kind of like trust what I'm doing, and I'm someone that played at a very high level from a young age, and serve was never really something that came naturally to me. I think nowadays it does a bit more, but it's still not the shot that is like super natural. Like I just like don't think about it. So in terms of how much you need to practice, it depends, because like an example from myself, like I had times where my serve was like really bad. I was double faulting a lot. I was getting in my head about it, and sometimes my coaches were just like, well, you just have to hit more serves. But I was like, in practice my serve is fine. It's in matches that it falls off. So clearly it's something more mental than necessarily just my serve. So I need to add that level of pressure to my practice. That was something that I wish I did more. Like, well, how can I replicate this pressure? Sometimes you're going to learn more from 5 high pressure serves than from 100 like just reps. Like, oh, you know, you get another one, you get another one. Oh, I missed. I get another one. I get another one. I get another one. I think it's a balance of that, right? Balance reps, just a lot of reps. I'm just gonna serve it out. I'm gonna serve a lot of T serves, and I'm gonna serve. Today, I'm only gonna work on my T serve. I'm gonna hit only that. I'm gonna try to find that feeling. But sometimes you just need less is more. Add more pressure to it. However it is. Like today, I have 10 serves. Can I make 7 out of 10 first serves, and that's it? Like that adds a little pressure, right? So blend that in, mix that in, and I think that's where you're gonna get some more results. And I think I don't want you experimenting a lot. Like yes, you experiment, but like you have to find what works in matches. So I'd say serve more like points. It doesn't have to be practice sets, but like, hey, I'm gonna serve to 10, or I'm gonna serve to 15. I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna play games where it's like if you win 2 points in a row returning, you become the server. Like do fun things that like add a little pressure on you as a server, and become better, not just at serving, but playing the serve points. Okay. Here from H, I guess. What should I be working on to stop blowing a lead in a match in important moments, like serving for a set or a match or in tiebreak? It's probably just like mental strength, right? Like we just in general humans, like it's very easy to catastrophize. I'll give you an example. I just played what the match that I just played to win my first point. I was super tight. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot tighter than any match that I played this year because that was the goal, to go out there to Tunisia, get the 1 point. I knew I could beat the guy that I was playing, and and I went out and I was up a set and a break serving for a 5-4, and I'm sitting in the changeover. Like I did catastrophize a little bit. It's like, oh, can blow this one, can blow this. But then I noticed that those thoughts came into play, and I also said, you know what, Karue, like shut up. You just served out matches this year 35 times. Like, serve for tournaments, serve for close out third sets, tough. And I just, told myself that I could do it. And I actually went out and held that love, made 3 first serves, I think 3 aces, and held. Now, obviously you're not at that level, but the idea is to try to let go of those like bad thoughts first. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're serving for the match or you're playing, you have a lead, don't fucking change it. Like, why would you change what you're doing? If you have the lead, don't change what you do it. Don't all of a sudden like, oh, I'm gonna be a hero about it. If you're just slicing your serve in and you're holding serve kind of easily the entire time, why would you go for a bunch of flat bombs, right? Like keep doing what you're doing and you'll be fine. The potatoes on the other side, they have to break you to hold, to be alive on that set or that match. So stay the course, point by point. And I emphasize it, and it's a cliche, but just play each point, and all of a sudden it's over. Like play the love 15. Don't overthink. Oh, it's love 15 now. Oh my god, it's love 30 if I lose this one. No, it's just love 15. I'm gonna play another point. I'm gonna play another point. I'm gonna play another point, and hopefully you get to that level. You worrying about it doesn't help. Like there's nothing guaranteed. I can't tell you something that's gonna guarantee you that you're gonna close out the matches. That would be bullshit, and you shouldn't buy that from anybody. But it's you doing this work and trusting that maybe you've closed out some matches before, so go back to that and try to notice why did you close those matches out, and slowly but surely learn with each of those moments. All right, I think I got time for one more here. Let's do here from Verdell. I want to win a tournament this year. What should someone on my level focus on the most in my preparation to give myself the best chance for success? I'm actually going to make a video about that soon on the channel. So basically a few things. Number one, start the point with quality. Learning how to serve and return well, it's a big thing. On the serve, obviously you're not on my level. Maybe you're not trying to hit aces and stuff, but high percentage first serves, serving to the body, have your kind of favorite serve that you can always go to. Make a good amount of first serves. That adds a lot of pressure. You don't necessarily, maybe you won't get as many free points as someone around my level, but just not like making a lot of double faults and put yourself in situations to hit a lot of second serves if you don't have confidence in that would help. So I'd say a lot of first serves, but at the same time, a lot of good returning. I think sometimes a bit overlooked, but starting the point. I'm not telling you to be Novak Djokovic. I'm not telling you to also have to like rip winners off your return. I'm talking about making your opponent play a lot. If they're serving, but they're not getting any free points, that creates a lot of pressure. That's something I've always done very well because I wasn't that great of a server. My returns were naturally good as a mean of compensating for that. So learning how to like just keep it simple in the returns, like middle, deep, start the point, get it to neutral within the first couple balls, and all of a sudden the server is going to have a lot more pressure. They're going to start serving a little bit bigger. Maybe they can't. They're going to start double faulting a little bit more, but you got to create that pressure returning. So if you can start the point with quality on both ends, that is a huge deal, because once the rally is like 6, 7, 8, 10 balls long, the tendency is to be 50-50, whoever's going to win that. But if you can start with more quality, the first 4 to 6 shots, work on that first ball after the serve so you can create opportunities to attack early. So starting the point with quality, fitness. If you want to win a tournament, you're going to have to last, especially if you're going to play maybe 2 matches in a day, stuff like that. So it's a tricky thing. I was going to say it's footwork, but you can't have good footwork if your fitness is bad. So making sure like you are fit enough to play, over and over again. That's something that sometimes it comes with just repetition and playing a lot of tournaments and hopefully getting wins and getting in match shape, because there's one thing being fit and there's one thing being like match fit. So doing that and in your own way. I'm not a fitness specialist. I don't like to really give that many tips, but I, personally, I've been doing a lot of like, I just replicate what happens in a match. I'm just out there, so I serve and I move side to side like 6 to 8 times, and I do that for 30, 40 minutes, and that kind of replicates what we do on court. And then obviously being mentally ready to not play your best tennis. I think of people like they go into tournaments and they expect that they can only win playing their best, and learning how to win playing tennis, average tennis, is important. And that again comes from good fitness, good trust in your game, all that stuff. So working on that trust. If you don't win a lot of tournaments, if you don't win a lot of matches, it takes time to realize that it's like, I can do this. A lot of people are quarterfinal players. They get to the quarters, but they lose. They get to the quarters, but they lose. And anyone that's really, really good in tennis kind of spend their entire lives playing finals. Playing like, if I was state champion at 9. I was getting to the finals a lot. I was getting to the finals of a lot of events in my life, and you just kind of get trust that you can do it. So it might take some time. You're going to have to put yourself through a lot of the situations to play matches, but the more you do that, the more match fit you become, the better you're going to be. So that's it for today's podcast. Thank you very much for everyone that's been signing up. If you guys are enjoying it, please let me know in the comments. I know this might not be the easiest way to listen to a podcast through the video here. We'll figure something out in the future that could be audio only, but for now we're going to keep it this way. Again, thank you very much. Go check out the K Pro. We'll leave a link in the description. Also sign up for Improve if you haven't signed up yet. And hopefully by the time I make the next podcast, I'll have another trophy, another title, and a few more ATP points, so I will climb up that ranking fast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.